Hi guys, it's Sherryl Lin, and I thought I would do a Facebook Live since I'm here at my office today with the now famous brick wall that so many of you left a comment about. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something that so many people, especially this time of year, have issues with, which is sleep. And for myself, I definitely struggled with getting a good night's sleep. How much sleep am I supposed to get? They say you have to get at least 8 hours, and if you don't, like, you're going to have horrible health consequences. And I'm not really sure that that is all true because I've had a very different experience with it once I kind of got it. And the it that I got was not an immediate, oh yeah, I've got this down. It took a little while for me to kind of figure it out for myself and then share it with others. So I thought I would share my hints and my tips about how to master this thing called sleep and feel rested and refreshed, and like no matter how much sleep you can get, you're at peace with it. So the way that this started for me was I had a bout of insomnia for a while. And it was depressing. I felt really, I don't know, I felt really frustrated. It was starting to affect my health and my sense of well-being. I, um, I realized, the first thing I realized was that I was always talking about it. So I was always talking about how much sleep I got or didn't get. And it was my then husband and I would get up every morning and be like, how did you sleep last night? Oh, I got up and I went to the bathroom 4 or 5 times, and oh, I couldn't get to sleep. Or we'd share stories about how we slept the night before. And I realized talking about it was making me immediately feel like, ugh, like I really was more tired talking about it than I probably needed to be. So I made a deal with him and I said, why don't we try not talking about how we slept and see if that makes a difference? And it did help. It did help because I wasn't thinking about it first thing when I got up, like, oh my God, how much sleep I got. But it was only the tip of the iceberg. The next step for me was that I stopped keeping track of how much I was sleeping, because I don't know about you, but I had one of those digital clocks by my bedside, so I could even see it in the dark because it glowed. And now we have our cell phones to check the time, so it's not quite as in our face. But I would look at the clock periodically, well, regularly throughout the night to see what time it was, and I'd be calculating in my mind how much sleep I had gotten, and if I fell asleep now, that maybe I'd get 5 hours, and that was better than nothing. But that dialogue, I realized, even that was making me anxious and not able to sleep. So I decided to get rid of the clock from the room. That was the next thing. And I just put it away, or put it so I couldn't see it, and I stopped checking to see what time it was. And the other thing was, before I went to sleep, I would, whatever time I was going to bed, say it was 10 o'clock and I had to be up at 5, I'd be like, okay, if I get to sleep right now, and I just stopped calculating. I just said, I'm not going to calculate anymore. So that helped tremendously. I found that just not thinking about whether I was getting, a full 8 hours or whatever really helped a lot. But then the final thing was, there was one night that I only slept about 2 hours, I think, something like 2 hours. And I had a big thing to do the next day where it really required me to be alert and awake. And I was panicking and thinking, oh my God, I've only slept 2 hours. How am I possibly going to function? And as I heard myself say that, I realized, wait a minute, right now, I actually feel fine. I don't feel all perky, but I actually feel fine. Maybe I could be even okay on 2 hours of sleep. So I made a conscious choice to not pay attention to the fact that I had 2 hours of sleep. And I noticed that it took all the way until late in the afternoon, like 4 or 5. I started feeling a little like, oh, I can tell that I hadn't gotten enough sleep. And but I made it the rest of the day, all the way up until then, without really even noticing it and actually feeling totally fine. So from that experience, I realized that when I would check in with my body, I realized that my body actually knows how much sleep it needs. And whether it's 2 hours or 12 hours, that it actually will be fine. And when I kind of adapted that way of thinking for myself and stopped listening to those people that do the sleep studies and say you have to have this amount or these things happen in the brain, I just disengaged from that whole thing and just said, I'm going to trust that my body, if it needs sleep, it's going to sleep. And if it doesn't need sleep, it's not going to sleep. And that was a total game changer because I moved into a place where I just was in the flow of what was presenting and realized that energy came from other things other than just sleep. Sometimes I got energized from conversations. Sometimes I got energized from, some amazing thing that I ate. Sometimes I got energy from taking a walk or being fully engaged in a project. And that kind of energy actually felt just as productive as sleep. So that's my story about it. So here's what I've noticed with talking to others about it, talking to clients, and some of the things that can come up when you do this, because your mind will question whether this is actually true. So what about if you have some sort of medication that's interfering with your natural sleep cycles? And I would say to that, yes, that sometimes can happen, and but worrying about it in the moment still will make you even more tired. And one of the things I actually assisted someone who was detoxing from heroin. It was awful because they couldn't get any sleep for like 10 days in a row, and there was hallucinations, and it was really, but this person said to me after they were on the other side of it and they were clean, they said, that the most helpful thing was that I had said to them was, don't focus on the sleep, but that your body actually can get benefit from resting. And so they would lie down, and even if they couldn't actually go into a deep sleep, just resting and lying down and, just being relaxed was doing something to the body. And so even though it wasn't the same as sleep, and they did have, some side effects from not sleeping, eventually the body adjusted and came to a place of rest and relaxation. So, and then, there are times when it really doesn't feel like I've gotten enough sleep, or, client will say, yeah, well, 2 hours may be good for you, but when I sleep 2 hours, I am wiped out. So for me, the easiest thing with that is just to remind yourself that it's just one day, one moment of your life, and that you will sleep again. That you're not going to go for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks with never sleeping again. And so if you're having one night or even a couple of nights, just do that thing where you just take some time and just rest your body, or do something nurturing for yourself, or just be with the feeling of whatever is happening in your body that's making you all revved up. So those are my tips for getting a good night's sleep, for thinking differently about getting a good night's sleep, or what is a good night's sleep, and just being with what is. Hey, Linda, and hey, Maureen, you're catching me on the end, but I am going to upload it, and so you'll get to watch all about how to master sleep. And once I have the video up, we can have a discussion if there's any questions that anyone has. But anyway, Hope these are helpful tips for you, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.